All right, there we go. So if you are just popping in now, you have popped by Just Stamp with Anna Marie. Today's class is a Terrific Toadstools pop-up card, so you can unfold this way. And it is popping up to say hi, featuring lots of bright colors, a lot brighter than yesterday's card. So it's nice to see the different styles that you can design with the same tools, the same stamps. Just switch up your paper colors, your ink colors, and create away. So here's today's card. It is a fun fold. So it stretches out this way. It pops up at you. You can put in your little message there. Today's card, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to add a little extra design to it, but we're still going to create the base as it is in this card. All right. Let's see. I invite you to join in and make a comment if you can hear me. Thank you so much. Hello, Debbie. Thank you. Yes, this is a project that I shared at a bingo event earlier this month. I'm going to tweak it a little bit so you can see lots of options available. So the card base itself is Melon Mambo, and the dimensions are going to be 11 by 4.5, so that's half a sheet. And this one has been scored twice. I pre-did the scoring. So I've got one at 2 3/4 and then 5.5. So half and then half again. We are going to go ahead and set this part up. So I'm going to fold back on the 2 3/4 score. Oh, thank you for letting me know, Debbie. I appreciate that. Yesterday I was talking along, didn't know for quite some time that there was no audio. Frustrating. Then I have a piece of Granny Apple Green. This one measures, I'm confirming all my measurements, 3 by 9 inches, and I have scored it at 2 1/4 and 4.5. So same premise, half and then half again. And again, I'm going to fold it back. These two pieces are going to be joined together to create the fun fold. So far, they're exactly the same. When I flip this over, this is how I'm going to attach it right there. But let's do a little bit of other assembly before we make that final step. So I'm going to push these two pieces aside. Let's work on our focal point art, which is on basic white. I like the contrast between the bright and the white. This piece measures 2 7/8 by 4 3/8, so just 1/8 smaller than the panel it's going to be resting on. And I'm going to start with basic black. Let me show you my color scheme here. So we've got basic black, but we are also using Melon Mambo, Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, Granny Apple Green, and Crumb Cake. So those are my other inks. I'm going to start with my basic black or tuxedo black. It's just on a different pad. And I am going to stamp. This is helpful. You can either use a piercing mat or you can use just a piece of chipboard to place underneath. When we're stamping with photopolymer stamps, it helps to have a little cushion underneath the cardstock. So I'm tapping my greeting in the Memento Black, and it's going to be down about half an inch maybe, centered, popping up to say hi. And I love the way this card opens up because you literally are popping up the mushrooms. So there's our greeting. I'm going to put that aside. And I think I'm going to close up the black pad before I get inky. I'm next going to go to the base of the art, which is that little green mound that the mushrooms rest on. And I'm going to bring in Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to help this one along. So I'm going to ink up. This stamp is quite solid, photopolymer. So what I like to do, sometimes when you ink down on a solid image, you can see some of the ink, I don't know, indentations or impressions. And so what I'm doing, I'm dipping my blending brush into green ink, and I'm just going to move that ink around. It feels very sticky. It must be the weather that affects the ink pads. So I'm trying to avoid that. It kind of forms a glob sometimes, maybe. It's hard to say. I don't know if you've ever noticed it in your stamping, but when you have a solid image, it's kind of tricky to get a good impression. So I found with the blending brush, it helped that along. I'm going to stamp way down at the bottom. And make sure that you press firmly. There we go. And there we go. There's my mound. And I'm ready to do a little bit more flat stamping on the card front. And by that I mean it's directly on this layer. I'm not going to be punching or popping up. So, what's your opinion of mushrooms? Are you in or are you out? They're kind of controversial, right? Because some people do like them, some people don't. And it's kind of like a strong opinion if you go either way. They're cute for art. They're nice for adding to certain recipes. So I'm a fan of mushrooms, and I think these are super cute. All right, directly on this layer, I'm going to stamp my small trio of mushrooms, and I'm using crumb cake. I have pre-matted all my stamps, by the way, on an appropriate block. So this is the little trio of stems, and this is on block B. I hope you can still get all of these blocks. Stampin' Up! Removes some of the sizes, this catalog, and so you can see I stamped off, and I'm just going to stamp it right there, almost in the center, sort of faint. That's okay. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to also stamp the little pumpkin pie mushrooms caps, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to need that. Let me finish up with pumpkin pie. I like the color scheme. What do you think? Of course, the color scheme was selected based on the pattern paper that we are going to be using on this project. It comes from one of the free Sale-a-Bration picks, and I like that you can see through these stamps, so you can see, check for placement, you can see right through. The pattern paper that coordinates with it is the Terrific, I think it's called Toadstool Gardens. It's in the Sale-a-Bration catalog, and you can get a 6x6 pack free with your gift, sorry, with your order of $60. So there are the patterns. And we are using this pattern on the inside of the card. So you can see all the colors that come through. The Melon Mambo, the Poppy Parade, the Pumpkin Pie, that Garden Green. So that's the color scheme, nice and bright. All right, so I think we're done stamping on this. Let's get our other basic white panel that is the inside of the card, the insert. You can see I have a little ladybug there. And the way I created this ladybug, I used my Poppy Parade ink pad. Now I've got lots of ink pads open all over. Let me push that aside. There is a stamp with the little ladybug, and I'm going to ink it up in solid Poppy Parade. I'm just going to put her crawling, the red ladybug, right around there. Make sure I've got a nice impression. And then we're going to add her spots, her legs, her antennas with a Stampin' Up marker. And I'm using the Early Espresso, and I'm just going to add, whoops, I'm going to use the brush tip for one and add the little antenna, even her head. So terrific use of these markers, that you can get 2 packs for free. They're an added bonus this month and next month during Sale-a-Bration with the starter kit. And here's one of the uses for the markers. You can do lots of things. So there's my ladybug I created just by adding the markers. So let me talk to you about that offer. These Stampin' Up markers are one of the options in the starter kit. You can get 2 of the color families plus the stamp set, in addition to your $125 of product that you can pick with the standard starter kit. Starter kit's always $99 for $125 in product. If you feel like you don't need those markers in the stamp set, you can opt for option 2 and get $30 in extra free product. But let me tell you, I'm going to interrupt here for this announcement. You will want markers. There are at least 12 uses for these Stampin' Up markers, and you just saw me use one. I had a friend who drafted this graphic for me. So one, pointillism. It's a sort of art. Look how that was colored with the points of the marker. You just fill in your image with the markers. You can use the markers for text and journaling, coloring your ribbon, for flecking or speckling, markers and blocks for watercoloring. So that's another great technique. Accent lines. Look at all these uses for the markers. And you can get 2 color families for free with the starter kit this month. Lines and punches, make a border, connect images, image coloring. So we just did this, and there's 2 ways to color your image. You can add your color to your stamped images, or you can direct color to stamp. And then, of course, backgrounds for sentiment images or for stamped images or sentiments. At least 12 ways to use the markers. If you're not already a demonstrator and you have lots of things on your list, this is a great way to go. All right, so we're done with the flat stamping. We're going to do our stamping for the extras, the things we are going to be punching. And for that, I'm going to use a little bit of scrap paper, again, basic white. We are going to stamp our mushroom caps and our mushroom stems. And let's see, I'm going to start with, I'm going to put one away, bring another one out. I'm going to bring out Melon Mambo. And I'm going to stamp the smaller mushroom in Melon Mambo. I've heard from many stampers that Terrific Toadstools was not on their list when they saw it in the catalog, in the new spring mini catalog. To quote, "Oh, I'm done with mushrooms." So here's another fresh look at mushrooms. I'm looking around for my Poppy Parade. How can I lose in a whole ink pad, right? Let's see. Poppy Parade, where is it? My goodness. How can someone lose a whole ink pad on their worktop? And I thought, I was fairly confident I had it out a few minutes ago. Okay, let's continue. It's going to show up, right? It'll show up underneath something I'm working on. Let's do our stems. And the stems, I'm doing one of the larger, and I'm going to stamp off. And this one's going to have to be fussy cut. There is no punch for that. And then I'm going to do the smaller one, same way. And thankfully for this one, there is a punch. All right, so there's my stems. And I think I'm done with my crumb cake. I'm going to close that up. And let's see, well, Poppy Parade is not showing up. All right, let me, wow. Not critical. I'm going to move on and stamp a second mushroom cap in Poppy Parade. Oh, I see it. I see it. I just pushed it away from arm's reach. There we go, Poppy Parade. So these colors are not critical. If you do want to do two of the same color, it's fine. Doesn't matter which color. You just want that nice bright in there. There we go. Okay, so we have Poppy Parade, Melon Mambo, and our crumb cake stems. The punch will cut the smaller stem, the small mushroom cap, and the large mushroom cap. So let's get started with these. The punch is smaller than the image, so you're not going to have the white space around the images. And that too is a preference. Some people like it and some people don't. Neither one's right or wrong. And then I'm going to stamp, or sorry, punch the smaller stem. And you have to be careful. Things start flying when you are using the punch because there are other pieces that will come out. And then I'm going to hand snip the larger stem. Fairly easy to do. So this card makes like a nice birthday card, a congratulations card, just a thinking of you card. And it's quite cheerful, so perfect for brightening somebody's day. Even if you're not a fan of fussy cutting, this will go quickly. It's pretty simple. And I know, Debbie, are you having trouble with the paper snips and fussy cutting? I know after your surgery, you might not have all the muscles working right to do fussy cutting. But then too, punches might be hard as well. So for most of us, it's going to be painless. All right, so let's put some of our things together. Let's bring in our focal point layer. And good morning, Debbie J. It's nice to see you. I'm popping in early. Today is Tuesday, and you may have heard I've made the commitment to, for Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's Mom Day. So driving Miss Mom wherever she needs to go. Now, I'm not going to put a dimensional way up at the top because that's going to be layered underneath the mushroom cap. You'll see as I add that. So it goes here, and I'm going to bring in the mushroom to kind of guide where I want that. A little bit higher, right in there. And the cap itself is also on dimensionals. We're going to slip it right underneath the top of the stem. And we're sliding it right underneath here. There you go, just like so. We have our second large mushroom. So we have our little trio that we stamp directly onto this card layer. I'm going to put some dimensionals on this. And for that, I'm going to use the border. I'm just going to cut a straight piece off the sheet. Get it short. And bring this in. this the same way I did with the larger. It goes low and there is no stickiness at the tip top because we're going to tuck the mushroom under as well. There we go. Alrighty, and that goes underneath. And I'm trying to kind of tilt the mushroom cap so that it's falling off the border. Now we're going to do something a little bit different on this card. We're going to come in and use our marker, that's the early espresso, to add a border. So this is another whimsical element because the mushroom itself, the whole set is kind of whimsical. And all I'm going to do is add a sweet, whoops, that is falling off. It's going to be okay. No, it's not going to be okay. I'm going to remove that because we can't have adhesive falling off this layer. It will stick to the folded layer. Okay, it's better. All right, so I'm going to add my border, and all I like to do is my dot and dash. So starting in the corner with a little dot, do my dash all the way around. Rotate. And all the way. This just adds a little bit of extra whimsy, more color to your project. And I think it looks super cute. What do you think? I'll show you the comparison of the two cards. So now we are going to add a gingham ribbon around this layer. We're going to add a little bit more black, which does kind of makes the bright stand out. So I need, I think, about 12 inches. Let's see. And I'm going to add two. Let's see what we've got here. You know what? It's exactly 12 inches that I'm going to be using. I'm not going to bow it. I'm just going to knot it. And it's going to be wrapped around and knotted at the right. So right through here. And I'm going to grab a glue dot, a mini glue dot, to help me out with my knot. So bringing that down. Let me get a block to help me. And oh my, it looks like I'm running low on mini glue dots. Unbelievable. Okay, so let's see if I can grab one off of here. I just need a little bit of sticky to help me out with the ribbon. And I'm okay with that extra long piece. That's the piece that's going to come up to knot anyway. So I'm going to tuck that right underneath, make that stay for me. It's almost like another pair of hands to help me out. Bring up the ribbon and wrap it through. And just knot that. We'll snip it a tiny bit so it's easier to work with. All right, the card's coming together. So next we're going to add it to our Granny Green layer, which is the Z fold. And I am going to add it with my favorite adhesive. Let's bring in the liquid glue. You could use Seal. And notice how I'm coming in from the edge. I think the crafters who struggle with liquid glue tend to put too much glue and too close to edges where it will ooze out. All right, so That goes right in there. I'm going to have barely like a 1/16 of an inch border on the sides. And because I've got liquid glue, I can tweak it. Okay. Coming together, there is our focal point layer. I'm going to bring in the other pieces that we're going to add. So I'm going to add my insert, and I'm going to add my patterned paper. This one goes up here, and I'm going to add that as well with with liquid glue. Making sure it's right side up. This one does have direction to it. And then let's add our border to the insert as well. Just starting in a corner. So when I purchased my starter kit back in 2001, it was a little bit more expensive than they are now, but I can tell you that starter kit has brought me many happy returns. So I'll be celebrating, 24 years as a demonstrator in March. And it's brought me so much more than just a discount to buy my crafty supplies. There you go. I just love the product. I love the community of stampers. It's a great experience. And if you're not already a demonstrator, you want to consider that starter kit. During Sale-a-Bration, you get extra freebies. When I joined, I missed the extras by just a couple of days, and it was disappointing because the person that I signed up under never mentioned the extras. So that's why I make sure I put that little bug in your ear often, because people don't always hear it the first time. I might sound redundant, but it might click after a while. You get extras during Sale-a-Bration when you shop, when you join, or when you host. Okay, so there's our art panel. What do you think? Are you liking the little border that I'm adding? This is the original without the border. Here it is with the border. We are now going to add this to the card base, and it's going to be going this way so you can see how it folds, and it's going to be joined here. Now, the adhesive is important here. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring this down. The scores here are going to abut, and I don't want any adhesive in the central panel. So what I like to do is let's see if I can bring that up. I'm gonna put a small amount here, right above the score line, and then I'm gonna put a small amount at the top of the adjoining layer. And I can do a couple of rows. And when I bring this up, okay, I'm going to hold that close, and I'm looking to make sure I have an equal border here on the left and on the right. This is abutted right to the fold. This is going to come up, and we'll apply some pressure, give it a second to adhere. And then I'm going to flip it, open it, and we're going to do the same sort of thing. This time we are going to adhere that green panel. So a little bit of adhesive at the top. And there we go. This is going to come down, so I can put some up here below the score line on the panel itself. Close that down, apply pressure, and again, make sure it's adhered before you start making the motion, making it unfold for you. There we go. Now we're not quite done yet. We have some little embellishments to add, the sweet little brass hearts. These, I believe they're an online exclusive. So if you're looking for them in a catalog, they're not going to be there. They are in the online exclusive section. And I want to say they're about $8 or $8.50 per sheet. You get lots. So my little hearts are just going to start floating up from that smaller mushroom. And when I remove them from the sheet, I like to put my one finger behind, and then use my take your pick tool and kind of guide it, because if you just slide your tool underneath, it tends to just go flying and you're losing some of the embellishments. So I'm using 3 of the smaller hearts. And I'm just kind of angling them a little bit different, so they're like flying hearts. There we go. There is our popping up to say hi card for the day. It is a fun fold, so it's going to open up like this, where you can write your greeting. You could say happy birthday, congratulations, have a great day. And there is today's Terrific Toadstool card. Here's the original, my card I did previously. And what do you think of the border? Do you like it or not? Is that an add it or keep it off? Let me know what you think. Post it in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And I will also want to tell you, while you can get the pattern paper as your free pick with any $60 order, you can also get the card kit to make this week's class. You can get it for free when you place a $40 order with me. So it's up to you whether you want to just leave it at 40 or whether you want to bump it up. Here's yesterday's card. So a little bit different style, a little bit different colors, but both really sweet. This one's a little bit more retro. This one's a little bit brighter. Let me know what you think. And I will post the link if you'd like to shop. I will post the link above this video. I thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow again at 9, I will be sharing card number 3 in the class. I hope you can join me then. And don't forget, share this video with someone you think might also enjoy it. If you came in late or you had to leave early, you can pop over to Just Stamp with Anna Marie on YouTube and rewatch the video. Thanks so much for joining. I will see you next time.